Hello everyone, this is Jason Burack from Wall Street for Main Street. Our company focuses on investor education and financial education, and I am both pleased and proud that Peter Spina and Chris Walczek have asked me to provide some of my views for GoldSeek Radio. Today, I would like to address and educate this GoldSeek Radio audience on an important issue and a growing problem I see in the real economy in the United States. The problem with subsidies and the unintended consequences and ramifications in the form of ripple effects subsidies cause throughout our economy. Subsidies misallocate capital and resources. They distort the accurate pricing mechanisms free markets can create if they are allowed to operate properly, and subsidies also create enormous economic and political rent-seeking, which is something we have an alarming and growing degree of nowadays in the U.S. economy. Nowhere in the U.S. economy are subsidies more prevalent now than in the solar and corn ethanol industries. Many of you are already familiar with the Solyndra scandal, but this scandal and the solar industry is a classic case study for what's wrong with government picking and choosing winners in the marketplace among industries by subsidizing industries that cannot compete on their own feet and be economic and have real demand for their products or services in the marketplace without subsidies. This is a deep-rooted government, economic, and business problem. This problem originates both from Congress and government agencies with large budgets to waste U.S. taxpayer money on spendthrift pork projects, and also from many business schools teaching that as an entrepreneur of a new business venture or operator-manager of an already existing company, it is perfectly all right to lobby Congress to get as much free money as you can while you still can and design your business model almost entirely around receiving government revenue through subsidies or large tax credits. I'm here to say that that is not how business should be done if we are ever able to fundamentally rebuild the American economy into the great economy it once was, where we produced products and services no one else could make, like the radio, television, automobile, and many others. The problem is a long-term value creation business model should not be one based on receiving larger government subsidies to make a technologically inferior product the market has little or no real demand for, like many solar companies making the silicone wafer photovoltaic panel currently make. There are currently far better materials to make solar panels from, like rare earth elements and graphene, yet many solar companies are refusing to switch to these newer and better solar panel designs immediately because they are getting subsidized profits from the government. In a free market, companies would be forced to switch to the best and most efficient technologies immediately in order to survive and not go bankrupt, but the subsidy is preventing this necessary technological advancement in the solar industry. I believe a lot of this problem is a fundamental one that has been hammered home in the classroom at many business schools nationwide. Business school students are taught by their professors, many of whom have never left the classroom or academia to actually work for or run a successful business over any period of time, that it is perfectly okay and in fact great to lobby the government for subsidies for your company and your industry, and that if your only customer and source of revenue is the government, that's a long-term sustainable business model. I'm here to say that we as Americans need to stop this mentality and thinking immediately. This type of philosophy and behavior is economic rent-seeking, pure and simple. It is predatory capitalism, and it focuses only on maximizing any and all profits in the short term while sacrificing the long term, sometimes even sacrificing your entire company in the long term, as this mentality is very prevalent on Wall Street, and many Wall Street banks would have collapsed because of this mentality, when in the past they were once run far more prudently by people who had, better values and focused on prudently running a long-term business model and focusing on prudent risk-taking. Right now, all across the United States, we have a situation where long-term value creation is completely ignored, forgotten, or in some cases even laughed at. Unfortunately, many people would probably say, in the long term, we are all dead anyways. The thing is, the top industrialists and inventors, who once made America the envy of the world for its prosperity and ingenuity, wanted to build inventions and companies for the long term that would succeed long after they were gone. We as Americans have gotten away from this type of thinking. It's not even really taught anymore. But if we are ever going to fix our economy fundamentally for the long term, we need to focus all of our views off the short term and instead focusing more of our time and energy on the long term so we can start creating real value, real prosperity, real opportunity, and real job growth once again. We can accomplish this by making products and services everyone else in the rest of the world feels like they have to buy, like what Apple has done, like what we used to do in the past, and hardly any American companies are doing anymore, as most American companies focus on suing over patents and intellectual property or IP instead of spending their profits on legitimate innovation and R&D to actually bring newer and better products and services to the marketplace to offer people a higher quality product or service at a cheaper price. In conclusion, we're going to have to stop this short-sightedness and economic and political rent-seeking behavior at every level of our economy, government, and anything else residing here in the United States, and instead focus on a much longer-term view again and focusing on long-term value creation if we're ever going to have a real fundamental recovery. If you enjoyed this editorial, please check out more of my work at the main Wall Street for Main Street website at http://www.wallstformainst.com.